Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Thursdays with Sin. And this is where I share my personal tips and tricks to hopefully motivate and inspire you to take just one small step toward your own entrepreneurial journey. All right, so the title of today's topic is Leading with a Positive. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about many years ago in a newly appointed managerial position. My boss and I had to schedule a meeting with an employee. Now, the purpose of this meeting was to terminate her position due to some downsizing of the company and reorganization, reduction in staffing. But yeah, pretty uncomfortable, right? So now I was naturally filled with anxiety since this it was my job to deliver this bad news. And I'm a brand new manager in this position, right? So my boss was there. He was there as a witness. Of course, there's some legal ramifications around that. And also providing moral support to me because he knew that being brand new, I had pretty much no experience of doing this, right? So prior to the employee arriving, being the great mentor and wonderful coach that he was, he asked me, he said, all right, what's the first thing you're going to do once she gets here? And I'm like, I don't know. So, I had never done this before. I had no experience whatsoever. So I'm sure I had that deer in the headlights look, right? So I suggested that we just simply start off with some basic pleasantries, hi, how are you doing? Great to see you, kind of catch up a little bit. And then I didn't know how to transition from that into the topic of the meeting. So I'm like, so I guess we just go ahead and state up front the purpose of the meeting and just kind of go right into it. And he's like, let me share with you a better way. All right. So with that, he proceeds to share with me there was something called leading with a positive, right? So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today as to how to really work with some sometimes difficult situations and how to make it even better and just set it up for a much higher potential for success instead of failure. So, I mean, if you think about it, here it is, this person's coming to this meeting, doesn't know why. And my job is to say, we're terminating you. Have a nice day. Certainly the direct approach is not effective at that moment, right? So, I mean, what do you do? How do you tell someone that's been with the company over 20 years, we no longer need you. See ya. Have a nice life. That was going to be a life-altering moment for this person. And in hindsight for me as well. So again, being the wise leader that my boss was, he said, you always must lead with a positive. So instead of going straight for the jugular and delivering bad news, lead with a positive and let the person know just how valuable their contributions to the company have been. So state examples of their service and how much that she's been appreciated, or even give specific references to either positions held or milestones or accomplishments and how they were a team player, all those things, because that builds the person up, it sets a positive tone, and it values them as a person, right? So even though it was still a difficult, very difficult conversation, the approach definitely softened the blow and allowed them to walk out that door at the end of the meeting with their head held high, with dignity and confidence, and knowing that they were appreciated for their efforts and recognized as a valuable employee. Now, I truly learned a lot that day, and I have never forgotten those wise words that were always lead with a positive. And those words have served me very well through all of my years of being, as a business professional, and I still use them to this very day. Now, whether it's coaching or mentoring through a difficult or even a rewarding situation, It really doesn't matter. The technique is the same, as the conversation always starts off by recognizing the positive attributes or accomplishments of the other person, right? So it sets the tone as an automatic, positive, good aura feeling for the beginning of the meeting. People want to feel appreciated. They want to be valued for their contributions. I mean, think about yourself. Don't you want to be told that you're doing a great job and, to make you feel better? And so you feel worthy of the time and the effort that you spend or that you have dedicated to that position. So when you recognize that, again, as a leader, and you set that framework for the conversation with a positive foundation, any conversation from that point forward can be managed, no matter how potentially difficult the circumstances may be. All right. Now, think of this, again, positive foundation as a setting of the tone for the meeting. So you're technically diffusing a potentially negative situation before it even starts, and you're restructuring it as or basically with positivity, right? So you're beginning the whole thing with positivity. Now, following this advice is not specific to certain industries. It's not only for CEOs or managers or salespeople or even entrepreneurs. This technique can be applied and should be applied to any situation, any person, any industry. It's basic human kindness, and it's taking into account the other person's feelings as a human being. So everyone's always heard, treat others the way you want to be treated. So yeah, that plays directly into this whole scenario. So it's not just about delivering the message. Again, no matter how horrible the message could be, it's about valuing the person that's receiving the message. Okay, so let me repeat that. It's not about just delivering the message. It's about valuing the person that's receiving the message. So as a leader, we must rise up, we must act with integrity, compassion, and definitely professionalism. Because, if you think about it, do we like every single person that works for us or that we have contact with? No, we don't. We're human. We have those negative feelings, or maybe there's been some type of animosity in the past. But we are the leader. We are seen as the leader, and we must rise above any of those personal things that may have happened in the past. So just in case you may harbor some deep-rooted or possibly even unknown to anyone else, any type of negativity towards that person, again, put your feelings aside and do not allow them to enter into this situation. We deal with difficult situations all the time, whether it's in business. It could also be with your family or friends or just any type of acquaintance, really, and definitely in business relationships. So the more skilled we are at knowing how to deliver our messages and have those difficult conversations, the better the end result will be. Now, this should go without saying as well. Never burn a bridge, all right? I mean, no matter how bad you want to go out with a blaze of glory, never burn that bridge, regardless of how you feel about the other person in the situation. You never know how that can come back and bite you in the end, much later on down the road. And just because you have those ill feelings doesn't mean that the other person does. If you've kept that silent all this time, which hopefully you have, then they may not even know you feel that way. I have actually observed situations where the other person had no clue that there was any animosity at all between the two people. And those negative feelings were totally one-sided, possibly unfounded, maybe not. Maybe it was just they hurt my feelings kind of thing. And, that started the whole ball rolling way back when. But, you got to think about people come into your life for a reason. You cross paths for a reason. There is a purpose for whatever reason that you're connecting with this person. You may not know why now. You may not know why next year. You may not ever know why. But there is a reason, and you may find out why years and years later, because it may reveal yourself or reveal to yourself somehow much later on down the road. Okay. But you always want to think about keeping an open mind, show kindness, show compassion in all of your communication, and you will be a better leader for it. So always remember, always lead with a positive. Now, I want to hear from you. Give me your thoughts on leading with the positive. What experience have you had in the past, maybe using this particular technique, or maybe something similar or a different way that you may handle sometimes touchy situations or conversations. Now, if you would like to learn more about what I do as an ecom business manager, you can find me on my free Facebook group, Ecom, that's E-COMM Business Management Community. Or you can also check out my website, cynmeadows.com. That is cynmeadows.com. And there you will find some awesome free training, and you can learn all about how you can sell online a risk-free way, which doesn't require you to spend thousands of dollars from your life savings buying inventory up front when you don't even know it's going to sell. It's not a given, it's not a guarantee, right? So first thing, no, this is not drop shipping. This is a truly unique method, way of selling. So go check it out and find out more information about becoming an e-commerce business manager. Here's an inside tip. You're selling products for other people, right? And you're earning commission every time you do it. So this is the way that you can learn how to write your own paycheck, and again, not risk your own life savings in doing so. So that's a wrap for today. I challenge you to go out and take just one small step towards your own e-commerce entrepreneurial journey. That's a wrap for today. See you next